Have you ever wondered what it felt like to wake up knowing your life belonged not to yourself, but to a banner, a piece of silk painted with a name, fluttering above a camp where 10,000 men slept with their hands on their weapons? Tonight, we walk through the most legendary and brutal period in human history, the era of the Three Kingdoms. China has shattered. The Han Dynasty, for centuries of power, has collapsed into dust. What remains are three kingdoms locked in a 60-year war that will kill 40 million people. Wei in the north, Wu in the south, Shu in the west. Each claims the mandate of heaven. Each is willing to drown the land in blood to prove it. This is not a story about emperors. This is about one day, 24 hours in the life of someone living in the heart of this chaos. A soldier whose survival depends on loyalty, luck, and the ability to read which way the wind blows. You're with Kronos. We don't just tell history, we take you there. The drumbeat cuts through darkness. Deliberate, echoing across the valley. This is the Chungu, the morning drum. The camp is waking. You open your eyes. The air inside the tent is thick with smoke, sweat, and damp cloth. Your breath clouds before you. It's late autumn, 220 CE. Frost appears on the grass each morning now. You are somewhere in the Central Plains, near the border between Wei and Shu, a place where allegiances shift like river currents. The tent is heavy hemp cloth, coated with tree resin to resist rain. 6 men sleep here, your Wu, your unit. You know them better than family. You've marched together for months. You've watched 2 of the original members die. 1 to dysentery. 1 to an arrow 3 weeks ago. Outside, sounds multiply. Leather armor creaking. Bronze blades scraping against whetstones. Low voices exchanging brief words. No one speaks loudly. Discipline is absolute. A loud soldier is a dead soldier. You push up from the straw mat. Your body aches. It always aches. The campaign has lasted 7 weeks now. Rest is a luxury no one can afford. Your lower back throbs. Your shoulders are tight from carrying equipment. A cut on your hand from sharpening your your polearm, hasn't healed because your hands are never clean. You reach for your armor. Lamellar style. Hundreds of small iron plates laced together with leather cord. Each plate the size of your palm, overlapping in rows. Several plates near your left shoulder have been replaced, salvaged from a dead man after the last battle. The leather cords are fraying. You've relaced them twice. The armor settles onto your shoulders. 15 pounds. You feel exposed without it. The iron plates clink softly with every movement. Your belt comes next. Thick leather with bronze fittings. Hanging from it, a pouch with a whetstone, fire-starting kit, a tiny bronze mirror, and a wooden tablet with your name carved into it. Your identification. So your body can be claimed if you fall. Your helmet sits near the entrance. Simple bowl design. Hammered iron with a ridge for reinforcement. Cheek guards that tie under your chin. No decorations. Those are for officers. Your helmet has a dent on the left side from something you don't remember. The tent flap opens. Cold air rushes in. Gao, older than you, a scar across his eyebrow, jerks his head toward outside. Time to move. No words necessary. You step out. The camp reveals itself in pre-dawn gray. Rows of tents stretch across the hillside in precise blocks. Each block represents 200 men. Multiple blocks form regiments. 8,000 soldiers in total, plus blacksmiths, cooks, camp followers. The largest banner flies from the central command post. Red silk painted with your general's name in black ink. It snaps in the wind. A constant reminder of who you serve. Who holds your life in his hands. The ground is churned mud mixed with frost. What was once farmland is now wasteland. You smell the latrines, deep trenches at camp's edge. Disease kills more men than enemy weapons. The commanders know this. Rules are strict. Designated areas only, no fouling water sources, hands washed before eating. You join your unit at the cook fires. Breakfast is millet porridge, thin and unsalted, ladled into your wooden bowl. You eat standing. The porridge is hot. It fills your stomach. Some days there's pickled vegetable. Not today. Around you, the camp continues waking. Horses being fed. Blacksmiths already working, the clang of hammer on anvil echoing. Supply wagons being inspected. Officers moving between units. Your unit leader approaches. Wei Chao, veteran of 15 years. He fought the Yellow Turban rebels before the dynasty fell. He survived the chaos that followed. Weapons inspection, he says quietly. Then formation drills. Commander wants to see how sharp we are. This is code. There might be action soon. Maybe today. Maybe tomorrow. When commanders worry about drill precision, they're planning something. You finish your porridge, rinse your bowl, and move to the assembly area. The weapons inspection is thorough. Wei Chao moves down the line, examining each man's weapons and armor. He doesn't speak much. A sharp look communicates displeasure. Your primary weapon is a dagger axe polearm. 7 feet of wooden shaft with a bronze blade mounted perpendicular, and a spear point at the top. You can thrust with the point or swing with the blade. In formation, it's devastating. The reach keeps enemy infantry at bay. Wei Chao runs his thumb along the blade edge, checking sharpness. Test the binding where blade meets shaft. A loose blade means a useless weapon and quick death. He nods. Acceptable. Your backup weapon is a dao, a single-edged sword, 2 feet long, worn on your left hip. For close combat. When formations break and everything becomes chaos. You've used it twice. Both times became a blur of motion and terror. You don't remember details, only aftermath, blood on your hands and shaking that wouldn't stop for hours. When inspection completes, drill begins. Formation drill is repetitive, exhausting, essential. In the 3 kingdoms, battles are won by discipline, not individual heroism. A disciplined formation will destroy a larger disorganized force every time. Everyone knows this. Armies drill constantly. Your unit forms 2 ranks of 5. Front rank holds polearms. Back rank holds crossbows. Basic infantry formation. Polearms hold the line. Crossbows provide ranged support before melee contact. Advance! Wei Chao barks. The unit steps forward as one. Left foot, right foot, maintaining spacing. Too close and you can't swing weapons. Too far and the formation has gaps. Ideal spacing is roughly 1.5 arm spans. Halt! Everyone stops simultaneously. Polearms, present. The front rank brings blades forward, angled down, creating a hedge of blade tips an enemy must push through. Crossbows, loose. The back rank mimes shooting. In actual combat, they'd release bolts, drop crossbows, draw hand weapons. Crossbows punch through armor at close range but reload slowly. You get 1, maybe 2 shots before enemies close. The drill continues for an hour. Advance, halt, attack, fall back, reform. Left wheel, right wheel, turning to face threats from different angles. Then the same drills at double time. By the end, everyone breathes hard despite the cold. Your arms ache from holding the G extended. Your legs burn from constant stepping. Wei Chao walks the line again, checking faces. Looking for exhaustion, weakness, men who can't fight if called today. He seems satisfied. Water break. Then equipment maintenance. You return to the tent area, drink from your water skin. Leather, holding perhaps a liter, filled this morning. The water tastes of leather with a mineral tang, but it's clean. Water detail goes to the river before dawn daily, fills barrels, brings them back. Officers check the river location to ensure it's not downstream from anything dead. Equipment maintenance is constant. Armor plates must be checked for rust. Rust weakens iron. Weakness kills. You have animal fat you rub onto plates for protection. Leather laces need inspection and replacement. Your weapons require more attention. The G-blade needs sharpening. You sit cross-legged, polearm across your lap, working the whetstone along the edge. Long, smooth strokes, maintaining angle. The sound is rhythmic, almost meditative. Around you, dozens perform the same task. Collective stone on metal fills the camp. While you work, a tentmate speaks quietly. Heard we're moving tomorrow. South toward Wu border. Another grunts. Heard the same. Scout unit returned last night. Officers were talking. This is how information travels. Officially, you know nothing. Orders come from above. But unofficially, everyone knows everything. Scouts report to officers, officers talk, servants overhear, word spreads like water. Wu territory, Chen says. He's from southern provinces. Rice fields and rivers. Good land. Hard to fight in if you're not from there. Hard to fight anywhere if the other side knows you're coming, someone mutters. Dark chuckles follow. Surprise is rare in Three Kingdoms warfare. Armies are large, slow-moving. They require supply trains, baggage wagons, clear routes. You can't hide 8,000 men. Scouts from all Three Kingdoms constantly patrol borders. By the time armies meet, both sides know exactly where the other is. What matters isn't surprise, but position. Who has high ground? Who has supply lines secured? Who has better morale, discipline, more cavalry, better terrain? And sometimes what matters is commanders. A brilliant general with a mediocre army can defeat a mediocre general with a brilliant army. Everyone knows this. That's why the banner matters. The general's name on that banner is a promise. Follow me, and I will lead you to victory, or at least, I won't throw your life away carelessly. The general commanding this army isn't one of the legends. Not Cao Cao or Liu Bei or Sun Quan, the great warlords whose names will echo through history. He's a secondary commander. Competent but not brilliant. Tasked with holding border territory and occasionally probing enemy defenses. This suits you fine. Brilliant generals win famous victories, but their soldiers die in large numbers. Competent generals win smaller victories and lose fewer men. The morning stretches. Equipment maintenance gives way to other tasks. Firewood needs gathering. Latrines need lime. A section of defensive perimeter, shallow ditch and earth berm, needs reinforcement after rain. You're assigned wood gathering. This means leaving camp perimeter, walking into nearby forest under guard, hauling back deadfall and branches. Heavy work, but it gets you out of camp, and the forest is quiet in ways the camp never is. 6 soldiers with crossbows provide security, watching for enemy scouts or bandits. Bandits are constant problems. Endless warfare has displaced thousands. Some turn to banditry from necessity. Others are deserters. Some are organized armed groups, preying on supply convoys and isolated villages. The forest is gold and red with autumn leaves. Ground covered in leaves that crunch underfoot. You hear birds, wind in branches, distant camp sounds. For minutes, you could almost forget there's a war. But then you see it, a tree marked with 3 cuts. Old, half-healed, but deliberate. A scout mark left by someone, yours or theirs, impossible to say, indicating trail or watch point. The war is everywhere, even in quiet places. You gather wood, bundle it with rope, haul it back. Midday brings brief rest. The sun provides some warmth, though autumn air still chills. Soldiers sprawl in whatever shade exists, under wagons, beside tents, in shadows of supply stacks. Lunch mirrors breakfast, millet or rice, sometimes with dried fish or meat if supplies are good. Today there's a small piece of salted pork in your bowl. No bigger than your thumb. You savor it slowly, making it last. The camp has rhythm. Morning is readiness, inspections, drills, maintenance. Midday is rest, eating, small tasks. Afternoon is labor, building, repairing, training. Evening is meals, equipment checks, brief entertainment. During rest, soldiers gamble. Dice games mostly, betting rations or small coins. Technically forbidden, but officers ignore it unless fights start. It keeps morale up. You don't gamble today. You sit with your back against a wagon wheel and watch the camp. There's a section you haven't mentioned, the followers. Every army brings followers. Soldiers' wives and families sometimes. Merchants selling goods the army doesn't supply. Prostitutes. Servants. Laborers performing essential work. Blacksmiths with portable forges. Carpenters. Wheelwrights repairing wagons. Followers have their own area, less organized but still supervised. Officers know that morale requires tolerating certain things. A soldier who can see his wife occasionally, buy a decent meal, spend his pay on small comforts, that soldier fights better than one with nothing to lose. But followers are vulnerability. They slow the army. Consume resources. In siege or retreat, they become liability. Every commander knows this. Calculated risk. You watch a blacksmith at his portable forge, Small stone hearth he sets up wherever the army camps. He's repairing a damaged helmet, heating metal, carefully hammering out a dent. Sparks fly with each strike. His apprentice, perhaps 12, works the bellows, keeping fire hot. The blacksmith is free craftsman, not soldier. He travels with the army because war is good business. Soldiers need constant repairs, and they pay for good work. When campaign ends, he'll move to wherever the next army forms. He follows way forces because they pay better than Wu or Shu. Near the blacksmith, a food merchant has set up. He's selling what the army doesn't provide: fresh eggs, dried fruit, honey, wine. Prices are extortionate, but soldiers with money buy. You've purchased from him once a small jar of honey eaten over 3 days, savoring each tiny spoonful. Further away, near followers' area edge, you see the prostitutes. 3 women sitting outside a tent, waiting for customers. One is young, maybe 16. The others are older, harder looking. They're not slaves, officially, but their choices are limited. Travel with an army and have protection and income, or try surviving alone in war-torn countryside. For many women whose villages are destroyed, whose families are dead or scattered, this is the only option. You look away. You've never used their services. Some men in your unit have. They return and say nothing. The camp is its own small city. It has hierarchies, economies, social structures, crimes and punishments. Yesterday, a man was caught stealing from supply wagons. Tied to a post, given 20 lashes with bamboo rod. Entire camp required to watch. Message was clear. Theft from the collective is theft from your brothers, punished severely. The man survived but won't walk right for days. His reputation is destroyed. Other soldiers won't trust him. He'll get worse duties, most dangerous battle positions. More merciful to have executed him. Justice in military camps is swift and public. No trials, no lengthy deliberations. An officer investigates, decides guilt, determines punishment, carries it out immediately. Brutal, but it works. Discipline holds the army together. Afternoon brings new orders. Your unit assists preparing siege equipment. Siege equipment means the army plans assaulting a fortified position. Wu territory has numerous walled cities and fortresses. If you're moving south tomorrow, you'll eventually encounter one. Equipment being prepared consists mainly of mobile shields and scaling ladders. Shields are large wooden frames covered with wet leather hides, protecting advancing soldiers. Hides are soaked regularly to prevent catching fire from burning oil. Ladders are simpler but require work. Sturdy pine with rungs notched into sides rather than attached. Must be inspected for weak points, tested to support armored soldiers' weight, repaired where necessary. You spend afternoon helping reinforce a ladder. Using an adze, like an axe but blade perpendicular to handle, to smooth rough spots, then wrapping sections with rope for grip. Tedious work, but there's craftsman's satisfaction. A well-made ladder saves lives. A poorly made one collapses at crucial moments, sending men falling to death. While you work, an older soldier tells a story. Was at Xiapi when Cao Cao took it. 7, maybe 8 years ago. Lu Bu was holding the city. Thought he was invincible. Cao Cao diverted the river, flooded half the city, assaulted when defenses were weakest. We went over walls just after dawn. Lu Bu surrendered by midday. You were there? Someone asks skeptically. I was there. Younger then, stupider. Lost 3 men from our unit on the walls. Defenders had crossbows positioned perfectly. 2 more drowned. But we took the city, and Cao Cao executed Lu Bu in the city square. Strangled him, then beheaded. Wanted to make sure he was dead. The story is probably embellished, but the core is true. Lu Bu was famous warrior, brilliant cavalry commander, terrible strategist who betrayed everyone he served. His execution was pivotal in early Three Kingdoms period. Lu Bu was the best fighter who ever lived, someone says. Could take on 10 men alone. And what did it get him? The old soldier replies. Dead in his 30s, betrayed by his own subordinates, executed like a common criminal. Being the best fighter means nothing if you're a fool. This is the lesson every soldier learns. Individual skill matters, but not as much as you think. Discipline, loyalty, being on the winning side matter more. Afternoon wears on. Siege equipment is prepared, inspected by officers. Everything loaded onto wagons for tomorrow's march. As sun descends, different energy settles over camp. Evening is coming, and with it, knowledge that tomorrow might bring battle. Evening meals are slightly larger than morning and midday rations. Tonight there's rice mixed with millet, vegetable stew with turnips and greens, and tea, real tea, leaves boiled in water. A luxury provided more frequently recently. Tea in Three Kingdoms period isn't like later elaborate ceremonies. It's simple, leaves boiled until water turns dark, served hot in wooden bowls. Bitter, slightly astringent, wonderfully warming. It also helps keep you alert. Increased rations and tea are signs. Officers know well-fed soldiers fight better. When rations suddenly improve, action is usually imminent. After the meal, Wei Chao gathers your unit. Orders, he says simply. We march at dawn. Destination is Wu fortress town called Jinko, 3 days south. Intelligence says it's garrisoned by about 500 troops. We lay siege and await reinforcements before assaulting. 3 days march. A siege. Possibly a battle. The information settles over the unit like heavy blanket. Equipment check tonight, Wei Chao continues. Everyone inspects everything. Armor, weapons, rations, water. If something breaks during march, you fix it or trade for it. No one goes in unprepared. He pauses, looking at each man. We've been together 7 weeks. You know your positions. Know your roles. Stay with the banner, follow orders, watch each other's backs. Do that and we all come home. It's as close to motivational speech as Wei Chao gets. He's not the type for grand words. But his meaning is clear. Stick together, stay disciplined, and survival is possible. The unit disperses to perform final checks. You return to your tent and lay out all equipment. Armor tit. G. Sharp, binding secure. Dao. Sharp, sheath intact. Helmet. Dented but structurally sound. Belt and pouches, secure. Water skin, filled. Rations, 3 days dried grain, some dried meat. Fire starting kit, functional. Personal items, wooden ID tablet, tiny mirror, needle and thread for emergency repairs. Everything is in order. Around you, the camp performs the same ritual. Thousands checking equipment, making final preparations, writing letters they hope won't need delivering. Some men write letters. If you're literate, many soldiers aren't, you can write final messages to family, delivered if you fall. Some dictate letters to scribes operating in followers section. Scribes charge small fees. They keep letters until after battle, then deliver the ones that need delivering. You are literate. You learned characters as a child, before everything collapsed, before you became a soldier. But you have no one to write to. Your family is gone, dead in upheavals following Han collapse, or scattered, or simply lost. The army is your family now. This is true for many Three Kingdoms soldiers. Endless warfare has destroyed old structures, old loyalties. Men serve not from patriotic devotion to Wei or Wu or Shu, but because serving offers protection, food, purpose, possibility of survival. As darkness falls, fires are lit throughout camp. Not large fires, those would be visible to enemy scouts from distance, but small, controlled fires for warmth and seeing by. You sit with your unit around one such fire. No one talks much. There's heaviness in the air, collective awareness that tomorrow begins the march toward violence. One man produces a small bamboo flute and plays quietly. The melody is slow, almost mournful, but somehow comforting. Folk song from northern provinces, about planting rice in spring and harvesting in autumn, about seasons turning and life continuing despite everything. The music drifts through camp. Other fires fall silent, listening. When the song ends, there's a moment of quiet. Then someone else begins singing, low and rough. The river flows east. Heroes scatter like stars. Right and wrong, success and failure, turn to nothing. The green mountains remain. Several times the sun sets red. It's from a poem circulating among soldiers, original author unknown. It speaks to something fundamental, impermanence of human affairs, endurance of nature, small significance of individual lives in vast sweep of history. Others join in. Singing is not polished, not beautiful, but it's real. Men facing mortality and finding comfort in shared voice. When singing ends, Wei Chao speaks. Sleep. We wake early. The fire is banked. Unit retreats to tent. You lie on your straw mat in darkness, listening to sounds of camp settling for night. Cos. Murmured conversations. Distant whinny of horses. Footsteps of sentries making rounds. You think about tomorrow. About the march. About fortress town of Jinko. About Wu soldiers there right now, perhaps also sitting around fires, perhaps also wondering about future. You think about the banner. About the oath you swore, not formally but implicitly, when you joined this unit, this army, this cause. The oath to stand, to fight, to not break. In Three Kingdoms period, oaths are sacred. Men swear brotherhood oaths by bloodletting, by shared wine cups, by invoking heaven and earth as witnesses. The most famous oath, Oath of Peach Garden, sworn by Liu Bei, Guan Yu and Zhang Fei, has become legend. They swore to live and die together, to restore Han, to remain loyal unto death. They kept that oath according to stories. Guan Yu was captured and executed rather than betray sworn brothers. Zhang Fei died violently but remained faithful to the end. Liu Bei, even facing defeat in exile, never abandoned the bond. Your oath is smaller, less grand. You swore no formal words. But you made a promise, to yourself and to men beside you, I will not run. I will not break. I will stand with you, no matter what comes. That promise, in the end, is all that matters. You close your eyes. Sleep comes slowly but it comes. The drum wakes you before dawn. Still dark, but stars are fading. The camp erupts into controlled chaos. Tents are struck, collapsed and rolled with practiced efficiency. Equipment loaded onto wagons. Units form up in marching order. Breakfast is eaten standing, cold rice balls prepared last night, wrapped in leaves. You eat quickly, mechanically, swallowing without tasting. Your armor goes on. Weapons secured. You join the formation. The army assembles in columns for march. Infantry in center, cavalry on flanks, supply wagons in middle protected by infantry screens. Standard Three Kingdoms marching formation, designed to defend against ambush while maintaining speed. The cavalry is worth noting. Horses in this period are valuable, expensive, relatively rare. Good cavalry force marks a powerful army. Your army has perhaps 500 cavalry, light horsemen with lamellar armor, armed with lances and composite bows. They'll scout ahead, protect flanks, and if battle comes, attempt to flank enemy formations or pursue routing enemies. But this is primarily an infantry war. The terrain, rice paddies, rivers, forests, hills, doesn't favor large cavalry actions the way open steppes do. Infantry dominates Three Kingdoms warfare. Disciplined infantry formations with polearms and crossbows. The sun rises as the army begins to move. 8,000 men, plus followers and supply train, stretch along the road for nearly a mile. The sound is enormous. Thousands of feet striking earth in rough rhythm, wagon wheels creaking, horses snorting, equipment clanging, officers shouting orders. You march in the middle of the column, which is relatively safe. The front and rear are most vulnerable to ambush. Middle sections are protected by sheer numbers. The road is ancient, built during earlier Han Dynasty, paved with stones in some sections, packed earth in others. It's wide enough for wagons and has drainage ditches on both sides. Han infrastructure was impressive. Even after decades of neglect and warfare, these roads remain functional. The march pace is steady but not fast. Perhaps 15 miles per day. Soldiers in full armor can't maintain higher speeds for sustained periods without exhausting themselves. The army must arrive at Jinko ready to fight, not collapsed from forced marching. Every hour, there's a brief halt. 10 minutes to drink water, adjust equipment, relieve yourself. Then the march resumes. The landscape rolls past. Farmland mostly, though much of it is abandoned. Fields that should be harvested stand empty. Villages that should be bustling are silent, some burned, some simply deserted. This is what 60 years of war does to a countryside. People flee. Agriculture collapses. Famine follows. The Three Kingdoms period is marked by catastrophic population decline. Scholars estimate China's population dropped from 60 million to 16 million. Some died in battle. Most died from disease, starvation, and general collapse of social order. You pass a burned village around midday. The buildings are charred skeletons. Nothing moves. No one has lived here for months, maybe years. There's no way to know which army destroyed it, or why. Maybe it was strategic, deny resources to enemy. Maybe it was punishment for supporting wrong side. Maybe it was just soldiers taking what they wanted and burning the rest. War creates wastelands. The march continues through afternoon. Your legs ache. The armor's weight presses on your shoulders. Your feet hurt. But everyone marches. There's no choice. Late afternoon, the column halts. Scouts have found a suitable camping site, open ground near a stream, defensible with clear sight lines in all directions. The army disperses into organized chaos again. Tents are erected. Fires are started. Latrines are dug. Sentries are posted. Horses are watered and fed. Soldiers collapse wherever they can find space. Dinner is similar to lunch. Rice, some vegetables, tea. You eat without tasting, too tired to care. Wei Chao addresses the unit briefly. 2 more days to Jinko. Then we dig in and wait. Get rest tonight. Tomorrow is more of the same. You return to your tent and collapse onto the straw mat. Your entire body aches. You remove your armor but sleep in your clothes, weapons within reach. Around you the camp settles. Fires burn low. Conversations fade. Sentries begin their rounds. You think about the fortress town of Jinko, 2 days ahead. You think about the Wu soldiers there, waiting behind walls. You think about siege, about assault, about dying. But mostly you're too tired to think. Sleep takes you quickly. The second day of marching is harder. Your body hasn't recovered from the first day. Muscles that ached yesterday scream today. Blisters form on your feet. Your shoulders are raw where armor straps rub. But everyone marches. Complaining accomplishes nothing. The landscape gradually changes. Fewer hills. More rivers and streams. The land is flatter, wetter. This is approaching Wu territory proper, the Yangtze River Basin, where rice paddies dominate and water is everywhere. Wu's power is based partly on this geography. The river networks make invasion difficult. Armies from the north must cross multiple waterways, navigate unfamiliar terrain, fight in conditions that favor defenders. Wu also controls the rice production. Rice yields more calories per acre than millet or wheat. Wu can feed larger armies from smaller land areas. But Wu's population is smaller than Wei's, and its territory is less cohesive. Wu's strength is defensive, holding what they have, not expanding northward. The army passes through a village that's still inhabited. The villagers watch from doorways, expressions carefully neutral. They know better than to show support for either side. Today it's a Wei army passing through. Tomorrow it might be Wu. Survival means keeping your head down and paying whoever demands payment. An officer stops to demand supplies. The village headman bows repeatedly, promises to provide what he can. Rice, vegetables, whatever they can spare. The officer accepts, and the army moves on. There's no violence. The village complies. The army doesn't have time for lengthy extraction. It's transactional. But you know what happens to villages that refuse. You've seen it. Complete destruction. Every building burned. Every person killed or scattered. The message is clear: cooperate and survive, or resist and die. War is brutal to civilians in ways that don't appear in later histories. The day wears on. The march continues. Your mind enters a kind of trance state, legs moving automatically, thoughts drifting, awareness reduced to the immediate, foot placement, maintaining spacing, watching the banner ahead. Late afternoon, the army reaches a river. It's too deep to ford. There's a ferry crossing, large bamboo rafts pulled across by local operators. The army begins the slow process of ferrying across. Your unit crosses in the evening, as sun is setting. The river is perhaps 100 meters wide, flowing fast. The raft wobbles under combined weight of 10 soldiers in armor. The ferryman pulls steadily, unconcerned. He's done this thousands of times. On the far bank, camp is already being established by units that crossed earlier. You help erect your tent, then collapse. Dinner. Brief rest. Sleep. Tomorrow, you reach Jinko. The third day. Final approach to Jinko. The army marches with heightened alertness now. Scouts range farther ahead. Cavalry patrols flank constantly. Everyone knows Wu scouts have certainly reported your approach. The garrison at Jinko is preparing. Around midday, you crest a hill and see it. Jinko sits in a valley below, surrounded by walls perhaps 20 feet high, made of rammed earth reinforced with timber. Watchtowers at intervals. Gates facing the cardinal directions. The town is small, perhaps 2,000 inhabitants normally, though probably fewer now. The garrison is estimated at 500 soldiers. Your army of 8,000 will surround it. The outcome isn't in question. Jinko cannot withstand a determined assault. The question is whether they'll surrender or force you to take it by storm. Storm means casualties. Sieges are infantry meat grinders. You've never participated in one, but you've heard stories. Scaling ladders under arrow fire. Fighting on narrow wall tops where one misstep means a fatal fall. Street-to-street combat inside. You hope they surrender. The army halts a mile from the town, out of crossbow range. Officers ride forward under truce banners, white silk tied to spears, approaching the walls to parley. You can't hear what's said, but you can guess. Surrender and be treated honorably. Resist and be destroyed. The officers return. The answer is clear from their expressions. Jinko will not surrender. Orders are distributed. The army begins establishing siege positions. Your unit is assigned to the southern approach. You'll dig trenches, erect palisades, prepare for assault. The work begins immediately. Siege is mostly labor. Digging, building, hauling. The fighting comes later. You dig trenches with wooden spades, piling earth to create berms. The trenches will protect soldiers from arrow fire and provide staging positions for assault. The work is exhausting. Armor comes off, too hot, too restrictive for labor. You dig in tunic and trousers, sweat soaking through despite autumn chill. By nightfall, basic siege positions are established. The town is surrounded. No one enters or leaves. That night, fires burn all around Jinko. The Wei army encircles it completely. Inside the walls, you can see smaller fires. The Wu garrison knows what's coming. Wei Chao gathers the unit. Orders for tomorrow. We wait. Reinforcements are coming. Siege engines, more troops. Command wants to ensure overwhelming force before assault. Could be 3 days, could be a week. 3 days to a week of siege work. Building ramps. Constructing covered approaches. Preparing ladders. Maintaining blockade. You return to your tent. Sleep comes despite knowing tomorrow might bring death. The siege settles into routine. Days are spent building. Nights are spent maintaining watch. The Wu garrison occasionally sends arrows or crossbow bolts at anyone who gets too close, but mostly they wait behind their walls. On the fourth day, reinforcements arrive. 2,000 additional troops, plus siege engines, rolling wooden towers that can be pushed against walls, allowing soldiers to fight at wall-top level. And battering rams, massive logs suspended in frames, covered with wet hides, designed to smash through gates. The assault is being prepared. On the fifth day, final preparations. Ladders are distributed. Mobile shields positioned. Assault groups designated. Your unit is assigned to the initial wave, first over the walls. This is simultaneously honor and death sentence. First wave takes highest casualties. Wei Chao addresses the unit privately. We go at dawn tomorrow. Stay together. Follow the banner. Don't stop moving. Standing still on a ladder makes you an easy target. Once over the wall, secure the tower and hold until reinforcements arrive. Clear. Everyone nods. No one speaks. There's nothing to say. That night, you don't sleep. Around you, the camp is quiet in a way it hasn't been. Men are writing letters, sharpening weapons one last time, praying to whatever gods they believe in. You sit with your back against a wagon wheel and watch the stars. The stars are the same stars that shone on the Han Dynasty's greatest days. The same stars that will shine long after Wei, Wu, and Shu are dust. The same stars that watch every human struggle and care nothing for the outcome. There's comfort in that, somehow. Before dawn, Wei Chao wakes everyone. It's time. You put on your armor. Check your weapons. Join the formation. The assault begins with drums. Deep, resonant, setting the rhythm. The siege towers begin moving forward, pushed by soldiers protected inside. Crossbowmen provide covering fire. Your unit advances with ladders. For men carry each ladder. You're one of them. The ladder is heavy, awkward, but you've practiced. Arrows begin falling. Wu crossbowmen on the walls. Most miss. Some don't. A man 3 rows ahead falls, arrow in his throat. The formation closes around his body and keeps moving. You reach the wall. The ladder is raised, placed against the rampart. Wei Chao goes first. Standard practice, unit leader leads. Then you climb. The rungs are slick with morning dew. Your hands grip tight. You don't look down. Don't look up. Just climb. One rung. Another. Another. Something hisses past your ear. Crossbow bolt. Missed by inches. Wei Chao reaches the wall top. Engages a Wu soldier. Steel on steel. You reach the top. Pull yourself over. The wall walk is narrow, perhaps 3 feet wide. Wu soldiers to your left, some already engaged, some turning toward you. A man with a spear lunges. You deflect with your Ji, riposte, catch him in the side. He falls. More men from your unit pour over the wall. The formation establishes. You begin pushing along the wall walk toward the nearest tower. Everything becomes chaos. Noise, motion, terror. Your training takes over. Thrust, parry, advance. Stay with your unit. Follow the banner. A Wu soldier swings a dao at your head. You duck, drive your G point into his midsection. He collapses. You keep moving. The tower is ahead. Wei Chao is first to reach it. He kicks the door open. Your unit pours inside. The tower's interior is cramped. Stairs lead down to street level. Wu soldiers are coming up. Fighting on stairs is nightmare. No room to maneuver. Just stabbing, pushing, shoving. Your unit holds. Barely. Reinforcements arrive. More Wei soldiers over the walls. The pressure eases. By midday, half the wall is secured. By evening, the gates are opened from inside. The main Wei force pours into town. Jinko has fallen. The battle ends not with glory, but with exhaustion. The Wu garrison is dead or captured. Jinko is now Wei territory. Your unit survived, 8 of 10 men still standing. Wei Chao is wounded, a cut on his forearm, but functional. Gao took an arrow in the shoulder but will live. You sit against a wall, armor drenched in sweat and blood. Some yours, mostly not. Your hands shake. This is normal after combat. It will pass. Around you, the town is being secured. Wu prisoners are herded into Central Square. Buildings are searched. Supplies inventoried. The machinery of occupation begins. You don't participate. Your part is done. You fought. You survived. That's enough. Wei Chao finds you. Well done, he says simply. No grand speeches. Just acknowledgement. That night, the army camps inside Jinko's walls. Real buildings instead of tents. It feels strange after weeks in the field. You lie on a wooden floor and stare at the ceiling. You think about the Wu soldier you killed. He had a face, a name, probably a family. You don't know his name. You never will. He was an obstacle, a threat. Now he's gone. This is what war reduces people to. Obstacles to be removed. Threats to be eliminated. The Three Kingdoms period will continue for 50 more years after this day. Millions more will die. Countless more Jinkas will fall and be retaken and fall again. And you are just one soldier. One life among millions. If you had died today, the war would have continued unchanged. Your name would be forgotten within a generation. But you lived. That's what matters. Not glory, not victory, not even loyalty to Wei or hatred of Wu. You lived. And tomorrow, you'll wake up. Put on armor again. Follow the banner again. March again. Because that's what soldiers do. They survive until they don't. They follow orders until they can't. They stay with their brothers until death separates them. The banner still flies above Jinko tonight. Wei's banner. Red silk with black characters. Somewhere, in Wu territory, another banner flies. And soldiers like you sit beneath it, thinking similar thoughts. The river flows east. Heroes scatter like stars. Right and wrong, success and failure, turn to nothing. The green mountains remain. Several times the sun sets red. This is the era of the three kingdoms. This is what it meant to live it. Not legends. Not grand strategies. Just men, trying to survive, trying to keep the oaths they swore, trying to see one more sunrise. You close your eyes. Tomorrow, the march continues. If this journey brought you closer to the dust and blood of the three kingdoms, if you felt the weight of lamellar armor on your shoulders and heard the banners snapping in the wind, leave your like. It helps Kronos continue traveling to lost worlds. Subscribe to walk with us through the next chapter of human history. This is Kronos. We don't just tell history, we take you there.